place where no one is seen as a stranger, where no one is ever faced with danger. A place that is gentle, kind and light, and nothing would ever trigger a fight. A place that is boundless and wide, where we walk with angels side by side. A place of smiles and happy tears, where our hearts are open and there are no more fears. A place where love is seen on every face and arms are open wide to embrace. A place where everyone measures the same, where you are true love and yet no one knows your name. A place where mysteries are explored, where truth is accepted and never ignored. A place where those of old age are wide-eyed and still learning, when time seems to rewind and to youth we are returning.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. And hope you're doing well this morning. I'm just checking to see who's in here. So if you see me looking sideways, that's what I'm doing. And baby's eating a oatmeal cookie. That's why he's chewing. That's his. Is that your breakfast? It's not your breakfast, is it? You had a protein shake.
I haven't had anything.
You didn't have anything?
Mhm.
You don't want anything?
Uh-huh.
You do?
Mhm.
Are you able to hear this morning? I said, are you able to hear this morning?
A little bit.
A little bit. Can you talk this morning?
A little bit.
A little bit.
I got another chunk here, you see.
Uh-huh. Are you sleepy this morning?
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Oh, it's good to have you guys with us. Let's see. That's sister and brother-in-law. Now, I don't know if that's brother-in-law or if that's Sissy. Sissy's at the beach, but she might be still watching. And then there's Kathy. Hey, Kathy, how are you? She said, sunny, beautiful day. Where are you? Because it's cloudy here, but it's cloudy, but it's nice. It's cool. It's almost like a fall day. So that's my favorite time of year. I love it. And there's Pearl. Hey, Pearl. Good morning to you. And Sister Neat. Hey, Neat. By the way, Sister Neat and I are planning on another get-together probably around my birthday. Yeah, around in July. So we'll be coming forth with that a little bit more as we go. And then there's Dee Dee and George. Hey, y'all. I thought about you guys yesterday. Hey, I want my toothbrush, Sister Dee Dee. I want my toothbrush. You don't forgot me. They love you better than they love me, I believe. He gets his stuff first.
Well,
Oh, never mind. He's not even here. Hey, Vern. How you doing, Vern? Yeah, it's good to have you here, sweetie pie. Hope you're doing well. Kathy's in hot Florida, she says. Hot Florida. Well, we're in cool, cloudy North Carolina.
mhm.
Yeah. Oh, you got my toothbrush? Well, thank you, my darling. When you gonna bring it to me? I want it.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I want it. And I want to see you too. I just want to see you. One of the reasons I want it, I want to see you. But anyway, I love you anyway. Whether I get it or not, I love you.
Anybody out there know what happened to James Dixon? I don't hear from him anymore. Anybody can locate him for me? Give him a call and ask him to give me a call. I like to talk to him. I haven't talked to him in a while.
And there's Brother Blue and the family. Hey, Brother
Dr.
Blue. And then
Dr.
there's
Blue.
Vet in Pittsburgh. Hey, Vet.
Vet.
Where's your sister? Is she coming on this morning? I hadn't heard from Leslie.
Miss Vet, I thank you and Leslie for the gift that came in the mail.
Oh, yeah. Hope you're doing okay, Vet. We love you, sweetheart. Thank you for being with us this morning. Hope you guys are doing well. And all of the rest of you who are here, but you haven't said anything on the comment section, that's okay. We love you, and we don't mind if you don't say anything. As long as you're here and you're watching, that's the main thing. That is the main thing. So, you got something good this morning?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I might have something good too. Baby girl's down here wanting her treats. She's right here beside me, waiting for her treats. Let's see. Let's do just a little bit of this morning. Just a little bit. I don't want to do a whole lot of that. But I'm going to do just a little bit. I got something I want to ask you. In fact, I think I'll do that instead of doing this. Yeah. I got a question for you guys. This morning, while getting ready for the live stream and bringing my thoughts into captivity, I wanted to ask you guys, have you ever experienced the presence of God? And if you have, what did it feel like? What were you experiencing? Can you give me an idea what it was that you were experiencing when you said you felt the presence of God? I want to know how it was felt, how it was experienced. Can you do that for me? Please do that for me. And I have a reason for asking that question. A lot of us are interested in quieting the mind. We had the opportunity to speak to a young lady this weekend whose mind was giving her a fit. She's a devout Christian, but her mind is giving her a fit and is mostly using religious information to torture her. Basically torturing her with the fear of being out of the will of God, the fear of being in the wrong spirit, the fear of not knowing whether it is God speaking to her, leading her or not. And that's how it was torturing her Christian conditioned mind, using scriptures and people who were also of the Christian faith, who were also having the same issues that she was having, but this is what their norm has been. This is how they have lived most of their lives. So even especially when you have accumulated a lot of biblical knowledge, the the egocentric mind, I should say, will use even scriptures to torture you. And we saw evidence of that in the wilderness, because the scriptures is what the enemy, or I should say adversary, used to tempt and resist and present itself to Jesus in the wilderness. So just knowing Bible is not protection, is it?
Knowing Bible is a left brain, religious, sophisticated insight. It's not insight, it's something that the mind and the ego decided to use to block us from waking up to our true identity, which I'm going to say this to you. I want you to hear me correctly. The obsession side of the scriptures in everything you do is not possible, because they are talking about something that was 2025 years ago, or more or less. And some of you, there, even as I mentioned this, there's a resistance in you. What you were looking for when you started reading the Bible was identity. So something in us decided to identify the red letter edition, the book, the ink and paper. But you have to understand that there is a part of you that knew God and was one with him before. Let's put it like this. Your real self was before scriptures, because your real self is the living scriptures.
Yeah.
whether you read them or not. And this takes only the spirit part of you can recall your essence
Mhm.
of being
Mhm.
one with Christ
Mhm.
without ever reading the Bible. It's kind of like people use the Bible, not reasoning, spiritual reasoning would say, if it ain't in the Bible, it ain't true.
Yeah.
Which that's the part of us that creates warfare and fight.
Yes. Well, and going back to what I said in the beginning, the egocentric mind will use even scriptures against you and use it to molest and torment you. And this is what we experienced with the young lady we talked to this weekend. And there's other people we've also noticed it's happened. That it tends, while the scriptures tend to give people um, certainty in certain areas, it also tends to block them from being able to expand their awareness and their understanding of God and themselves and everything else. So I asked that question because this is why this is one of the reasons why we need, as Christians, we need to be freed from our allegiance to the biblical scriptures. Not so much that we don't use them, but we need to get past thinking that that is how we are supposed to adhere all the time to, in the sense that if anybody else is not following that guideline, then they're taking us off in the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm.
So I may be not saying this is the way I need to say it for you to have clarity, because we're definitely,
and we're not against the scriptures.
No, that's what I was about
we're
to say.
We're just saying how they can be used.
It can be
out
used.
Of place.
It can be used against you.
Yeah, it can.
Against you and not serve you. So I'm going to go back though to the first question I asked. Have you ever experienced the presence of God? And when you did, how did you experience? What did you experience? Was it in your feelings? What was it? How would you describe it? And Sister Pearl is the only one that's given me an answer. Thank you, Pearl. She says, the first time for me was years ago, for several days when I ever laid down for a nap. This bright light would overshadow my face, but I never heard a voice. It was just so bright. Okay, so it came to her as light, and I think that's what happened with you as well, isn't it? It came to you
that
as
and
light.
A whole lot of other things.
Yeah, but you experienced that same light. That same light. Yeah.
Now, let me expound on this to you, Miss Pearl, and I'm sure you are aware of this because you've been around us for years. Here it is. The light that you saw was a holographic projection of your true, eternal light, life, divine presence that seemed to the mind. Let's say, for instance, you're in a theater, you watching a movie. You don't focus on where the movie is coming from. If you did, you wouldn't look at the screen in front of you. You'd be looking behind you up in the booth where the projection machine is projecting an image on the screen. But you sitting in the chair in the theater, you can look backward or forward and see where the light comes from, and also see the light in front of you as tangible perception to your senses. Okay, here we go. What we're actually approaching this morning is, what is the definition of the true walk of the Spirit?
Or what does it actually mean to walk in the presence of God?
And we think, I got a neighbor, he has Bible times every morning. There's nothing wrong with that, just like eating. But when you're driving your car, you don't put the manual right there on beside you in the passenger seat. and look at it like you do like we do our cell phones.
Yeah, yeah, that's a
And
good
that
example.
cell
That's a
phone
good
stuff
example.
is done went too far with people. If you take it away from them, they will fight you and cuss you out and rage crazy.
Right,
That's
right,
an addiction.
right.
Okay. My point in driving, you don't have the manual sitting there. Every time you get in, you read it. Every time you go down the street and stop, you read it.
Mhm.
You don't live like that.
But you may sometimes refresh yourself when it's time to renew your license. You
Yeah,
may refresh the signs and what they mean and all of those kinds of
that's
things.
right.
But once you've driven for years,
You don't
you
do
no
that.
longer refer to the manual.
And it don't come up and like I'm getting ready to find a place in the license plate where I can renew my license. I don't walk around all day with my license in my hand
Right.
to verify that I can drive.
Right.
I hope you guys are catching
Yeah,
the
I think
metaphor
I
that
think
we
they
give.
are, Pastor. And I wanted to add this too, Pastor. My reasons for bringing this up is that uh, everyone is looking for the same thing,
Yeah,
whether they be Christian or not. Everyone's looking for the presence of God. They may not call it that. Um, they may just call it the mind gets quiet,
yeah,
or they say I have a sense of peace, or and that's one of the reasons I asked you what did your experience of the presence bring to you? What did you experience? So please type this in. I know Pearl's not the only one that heard me say this. So uh take a minute and type it in. I want to know because you'll help yourself and others when we do this. It will help us to move forward. So everyone's looking for the same thing. Even if, okay, let's look at this for a second. Everyone's longing for what they get when they experience the presence of God. That makes sense? Whether it's being done through praying, uh, we always call it praying till you pray through. You pray until you feel better. You have a breakthrough. Your feelings are uplifted. The mind stops worrying. That's praying through. That's what the old term means. And then there are other people who might use bungee jumping, skydiving, climbing mountains, uh, dangerous things that bring you to the point right at the door of death, but you don't go through the door.
mhm.
And what they experience when they do that is everything goes offline. And I remember Mama Chris, when she's having her challenges, her health challenges, she said she went offline and Christ woke up and brought her back. So going offline means that's the only time you experience the mind not harassing you. So I want to know what it is, and let me know if you don't respond. I don't think you're not hearing me. So please respond. Uh, there's a movie that I watched. It's been years ago. Years ago, it's an old movie. And thank you, Vern. She's typed it in. She said, when I first experienced the presence of God, I felt an overwhelming peace. So that peace, Laverne, let me ask you this: that peace, when you say peace, see, we tend to say the word, but we don't really break it down as to what that actually felt like. What actually took place that made you feel that peace? Just can you answer that for me? Can see if you can answer that for me. What happened in your inside of you that made you feel peaceful at that moment? Just let me know if you can break that down. But there was this movie I watched years ago called 7 Years in Tibet. And if you've never seen it, then it might be worth you looking at. It's a long movie, but the star of it was Brad Pitt. And it was about him taking a journey to Tibet to see the Dalai Lama. And in that movie, there was he was climbing mountains. I think that's what he was doing. It's been a while since I've seen it, but he was climbing to the peak of a high mountain, real high mountain. And somebody asked him. In fact, I wrote it down. I printed it out. The famous quotes of this movie. Uh, the man asked him, tell him what he said. Tell me what you love about climbing these mountains, because it was dangerous. It was very dangerous. He said, tell me what you love about it. And this is what he answered. He said, the absolute simplicity. He said, that's what I love. When I'm climbing, my mind is clear and free from all confusions. I have focus. And suddenly the light becomes sharper. The sounds are richer. And I'm filled with deep, powerful presence of life. And I've only felt that one other time. And he said, well, when did you experience it? He said, in your presence. And this was the presence of the Dalai Lama. Now, Vern is kicking it back to me. She said, it was a warmth and a comfort to my mind and body. Yeah. My mind was no longer cluttered with things. That's the key. That again is the key. Everybody on the face of this earth is looking for that. Everybody. Now they may be looking in different ways. Like I said, they might be using prayer. They might be using meditation. Some people might be using reading the Bible. Some people might be using going to the prostitute, because when you have sex, you lose yourself in that experience and you want to experience it again. And then some people might be maybe looking for it in a wine bottle, in a beer bottle, in an alcohol bottle, or in a drug, because when they first start taking it, immediately the mind leaves them alone and they experience it. So all of us are looking for the same thing. We're just using different ways to find it. But what's so good is when, even no matter how we look for it, no matter how we try to find the door to it, presence is always there waiting for us to go through the door. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? That it doesn't have to be a religious experience for God to really be experienced. It doesn't have to be religious. Kathy says, it's been a while. I left my body. I was in beautiful clouds and heard my mother calling my name. I saw beautiful clouds, but never saw, but very powerful experience. And tell me, Kathy, if you can, what did you experience inside yourself when you saw the clouds and your mother heard your mother calling your name? What was it that you experienced inside yourself? You're explaining and describing what you saw, but how did it make you feel? What did you feel? What did it do to you inside yourself? Tell me that if you can. Nita says, for me, I actually heard his voice, and then I felt warmth all over from head to toe. This is what everybody is looking for. And so we look for it in so many different ways. But these things that you guys are mentioning is the beginning of your enlightenment journey, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It's the beginning of your enlightenment. Yeah, it's the beginning of your enlightenment journey.
Now, my intention this morning is set forward on what is the true definition of the walk of the Spirit. What you guys are talking about is an introduction to the finite senses of an experience. For each one of us, something like that had to happen. Mm-hmm. It wasn't the only way that you could find out what you're talking about this morning. The walk of the Spirit, I thought it was one time trying to get those same experience to happen again, over and over again. People go to church now to experience what they would say, I don't feel good if I don't go to church on Sunday. I go there to get my blessing. I go there so I can feel free to shout and praise God. Now that, please, I'm not condescending you. That is fictitious
Sure, sure.
because you done found out after praying and trying and seeking and reading and studying that you just could not make that happen again. And that's where the ego comes in to make you feel and say, I got to fight the devil in order to get back to that place, or I have to do something to get the the uh, the, the spiritual battle out of the way so I can have this again. That's fictitious.
Yeah.
Now, this morning while I was walking, taking my time walking, inside of my inner self essence, a conversation was going on. This is the walk of the spirit. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna say it to you in a way. It would be a mystical thing, but I found out what you're really looking for in that experience is for that to be real again.
Mm-hmm.
But what you were introduced to was
It was yourself.
was the engine or the motor in the car.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to do again is make that happen over and over again, which gives the idea that if I could get this again, that would be called the walk with the Lord. I heard people say over and over again for years, I gave my life to Jesus. What they really saying is that I gave my life over, I gave my attention over to church,
Mm-hmm.
witnessing,
Yeah.
door to
Yeah.
door,
That
praying all the
I
time.
chose that path.
And you chose that path.
Mm-hmm. I
Wait,
chose
I'm
that
sorry. Your ego mind chose that
path.
path.
Because, well, like you and I, we didn't know anything else. We didn't know there were any other paths to choose.
And it gave off the impression that if I had this once, it made me not want to do things like I used to do. And it puts you in a position where you're constantly, unconsciously trying to make that happen 24/7.
Or at least longing for it.
Yes. And the longing for it.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm trying to bring you to a point where after 50 years of being like the average one that you are now,
Mm-hmm.
I had the experience of the real seeing of why that and what that was. And I gave up trying to make it happen again.
Yes. Well, and I'm glad you said that because there is no way to make it happen again.
No. It may happen again.
We may experience
but
it.
You don't put your last penny or dollar in that because that, let me tell you something. Anything that comes and goes is not eternal.
Which means anything that comes and goes is not who we are.
We say we had the experience once and it burned into the gray matter of your brain, how real that was. But there is something much more comfortable that I want to introduce to you that I've been talking about for years. When I saw Jesus, I had the same experience that you guys had. I saw him. He communicated with me. He talked. I can tell you the details, and y'all heard it for years when I had the building. But if that is not happening, where do I stand with God if I can't get that to happen all the time?
Exactly. Good. Now, hold it, Pastor. Don't go too fast.
Okay.
I need to keep up with them, and they need to keep up with us. Now, Noelle says, she said, I first experienced God's presence at 4. She was age 4, so this had nothing to do with religion. I wanted to get some water, so I walked to the stairs, but I was afraid to go down because it was dark. A cloud appeared in front of me and took me downstairs.
Okay.
So, you know, you
Oh, I
got,
like
and
this.
I like the fact that you guys are telling us the experience. But when you're telling me and describing the experience, but can you describe what it made you feel and what it made you know? Can you do that? So think about that, Noel. Think about that. And you think about that, Kathy. More than just describing what the details of the experience, I want to know, what did it make you feel? What did it make you know? Okay, tell me that. Now, Pearl says this, and I love what she said. She said, over the years, I've become aware that it's the separated mind, or I could say the egocentric mind, the separated mindset that's still looking when who I truly am is not looking for anything.
Now,
And this is why we say what you're looking for is where you're looking from. What you're looking for is where you're looking from. And that which is looking for is what's being looked for.
okay, what your experience was, your inner self, say for instance, the theater, you go there and sit down. Most people ain't interested in what's behind them.
Well, see, nowadays they don't have that. That's our generation. They had the projector and the light that shined on the screen. Now everything is digital.
Okay, but now in digital instance, I have had the chance to talk to the manager of theaters over the years. And the first one took me up into the place upstairs behind
where they used to have the projectors.
When they had the projectors.
It was hot up there, wasn't it?
And no, this was more of a modern projector because what you just said about the upgrade of movies.
When in the beginning,
there's no man or anybody up there working a machine like it used to. Mm-hmm. And the one that took me up there, the lady that took me up there was no people staying up there all the time watching to see if the film gonna break. And
I remember the film breaking.
And he had to put it back together and start the movie all over.
And the person back then, the person that was in that room, they actually didn't wear a lot of clothes because it was very hot. Yes,
it's really hot. Mm-hmm. But nowadays it's computer.
Yeah, it's all computerized.
Now, what has happened to you and your computer? Go ahead.
Now, Jill, I like what Jill said. She said, Jill says, the seeker is not eternal. Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
That's our point. Exactly.
Oh, gosh.
Yes. Regardless of the dramatic experience, regardless of how it brought you into such bliss, regardless of that, the seeker is not eternal.
Woo-wee.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now you just knocked my shoes off.
Good, Jill. Good.
Miss Jill, you just knocked my underwear off, and I didn't get a chance to take my britches off.
It blesses us.
Gracious.
It blesses us when we know you came to your own seeing.
That's what we're talking about.
Not us telling you that the seeker is not eternal.
That's what we're talking about.
You come into the place of seeing that the seeker is not eternal.
Yeah. The seeker is not eternal. Boy, that baked my cake there. I mean, it put the icing on it, and it's now ready to eat. Now, when you eat Christ and drink his blood, what you're saying is that all of these experiences of the light and seeing Jesus has now been digested and assimilated into our awareness.
So this also says, and Kathy, thank you. She says, I didn't ask to see those things.
That's right.
I was stunned and surprised, but I felt very joyful and happy. So what you guys are noticing is that each of us had an experience that was personal to us, personal only to you. And it was your encounter. It was your first step into oneness, your first step into non-physicality, your first step into the dimension of God, I should say.
The question has plagued me with the same statement and the same experience. So I asked the question. That night it happened one time. What was that all about? All right, here's another one.
Mhm.
Where did it come from? All right, here's another one. Where, why did I see? Yeah, here it is. I didn't ask for that,
Right. That's what Kathy
and
said.
I wasn't seeking that.
Yes. Yes.
Here's what here,
That's what
and
Kathy said.
I would answer that and say, I did not ask for that,
But
but something did.
some part of me did.
Okay, here it is. Here's what I found out years later. That was the real me, us, over the universe, giving himself the experience of waking up. Now, watch it. Let me say this another way.
Yeah.
Something about your or this finite life was brought to a place of hope, no hope, helplessness. It was an inner working of. Let me put something. Your baby girl got a chin up here. She want me to play with it.
Listen, let me say this, Pastor, while you miss me.
Yeah, go ahead.
So my question to you guys, and in the experiences that you had, how do I want to say this? Yes, you heard, yes, you saw, yes, you experienced that, but what was it that was able to hear God
And see,
things that normally other folk wouldn't see in this physical world? What was it was able to hear and see? Because that heard and saw was not your body, was not your eyeballs, your physical eyeballs. There is a you that's beyond the body and is very, very alive, very, very active. And it's like it woke you up to a you, a different you, a different you. It woke you up to a different you. Now, I like what Pearl says, because she's very, very accurate when she says it. We were told who we are by parents and society before we could hear who we were within. Oh, that's so good, honey bun.
and
That
we
was so
think
good.
and thought now, some is slipping back over, that the real you is the one that's thinking all the time and talking to itself all the time. No,
It's
that's not you.
That's right. Now you eating, so you can get to it and
Okay.
swallow it first.
The you, and watch this now. Here we go into it. We're still we're in the mystical side of the walk of the spirit. Now here it is. A superstructure was built. And what happened when you had this experience? The structure that was conditioned and built into you was torn down. But some of the foundations of that was still there and was not dug up and diminished. Now here it is again. That was you revealing yourself to you.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna say it again.
And I know that's a mystical language, but you can hang with it. You
Please,
can hang with it.
me.
You can hang with it.
I am not that has a problem with.
No, I know
that.
you're not.
I know I'm talking about with you guys.
Yeah,
Everybody.
yeah.
That in the real you made that happen in an unconscious way, because there was something longing, and that was the Christ self, longing to reveal itself to your false self.
Well, let me say it this way. I'm gonna turn it around and say it another way. Maybe this will help somebody to get it too. In your experiences, the one where you came out of your body, the one where you heard the voice, the one where you saw the light, the one where you there was a you introduced to you, or a you introduced to your mind that was joyful, unafraid, eternal, wasn't seeking. It was quiet. It was peaceful. there was a you introduced to your mind. And yeah, and it's the same thing you're saying. There's a you that was introduced to your mind.
And that was
in
the
that
you that was
experience.
developed and conditioned to not have this to happen because you didn't think it was anything outside of that was better. But better was waking up
Yes.
to the true identity. Here's
Yes.
what I told a lady, and Miss Pearl, you guys understood when we was training different ones, the walk of the spirit or the see in the spirit. Here's what I asked her to do. And what I did, I introduced her to her third eye, or the eye all seeing eye.
Or herself as the seer.
As the watcher, observer,
the
seer. I said, hold your hand out, Miss Pearl. You see me do this. I said, now, I didn't tell her the workings of it. She just did it. Oh, God, you just did it. You just did it. Oh, God. And hold your hand out. There's an apple in your hand. It could be green or it could be red. But let's say red. She held her hand up. I said, do you see it? She said, yes. I said, you cut the apple in half. You just did it. Hold it in your hand. You see two pieces from one object. Yes. I said, cut it across. You'll have four pieces. She did that. I said, now, let's take your hand. I didn't do all that with her. I said, but paraphrasing, shake that apple off of your hand. Hold your hand out again. And you, Miss Burr, you see me do this and heard me talk about it. I said, now there's a lemon in your hand. And I said, now notice when I said apple, your olfactory senses work because all of a sudden you saw in your hand with your imagination. You saw in your hand and had some sensing of your taste buds in your mind to experience what it tastes like to bite it. Now, when I said to the lemon in her hand, she created it, put it there, and tasted it. Boy, you can feel the sour. Me just talking about it now. I'm contacting your subconscious self and activating your sense of seeing the way you experience those experiences that happened to you when you say you met the Lord.
Yeah.
But now, hold on for a second now. Every one of us in the universe, whether our president, vice president, government, policemen, all of them, every last one of us came from the true essence that we were always as the eternal self. There's not a being inside of a body that's not eternal.
Yeah.
And that's not that eternal that you were and are now is that saying that you said, I got saved and I know I have eternal life. You were eternal. And the book tells you in the 16th chapter of Luke, it tells you that two people left their bodies. They died. They said they died, but they really didn't. Their body died, the rich man and Lazarus. And both of them was eternal, whether in the body, inhaled, or out. Now we're talking about the walk of the Spirit now. So here we go into the walk of the Spirit. We got those who are constantly trying their best with obsession and Bible quotes, trying to use that as an excuse to walk in the Spirit because they're doing something that relates to one experience. And now you're waking up that experience, like what Miss Jill said, what did she say it was, baby?
The seeker is not eternal.
The seeker is not eternal.
Type that in. The seeker is not eternal. Now, I wanted to piggyback on what Pastor's saying because I want to say it in a different way.
Yeah.
So that it will bring clarity. Some of us are left brain, so we have to hear it in different terms. If I say to you, now he gave you the example of seeing an apple memory, whatever. All right, if I say to you, I want you to say I want you to repeat what I say, but I don't want you to say it out loud. Okay? Let's just, thank you, Vern. What if I tell you to say the seeker is not eternal? I don't want you to say it with your mouth, but I want you to say it inside yourself. The seeker is not eternal. Okay? Just say it. The seeker is not eternal. Okay? If you say that without your mouth, there is a you that is able to say it, and there's a you that is able to hear it, even though it didn't come out of your mouth.
That's the way Jesus talked in the spirit realm,
right?
Without using the mouth.
Right. But I don't want to get you off on that. I want to get you to the point where you can see that there is a you that is able to hear, able to speak, and even able to see those words.
And never open your mouth.
And it is seeing, hearing, and speaking beyond physical apparatus. It's not using the physical apparatus at all, which tells me it can do that because it's not physical. You are not physical. You are multidimensional. You are, as Pastor said, eternal. You are not that which is seeking.
That's right.
You are that which is being found. You are that which is being found. You are that the seeker has been looking for. You are what you have been looking for. When we say to see it and to hear it and to speak it, but not use your physical being to speak.
Sometimes you can smell it.
Yeah, but not using your physical apparatus to do it. We're saying we're not talking about the subconscious mind in the sense that this is your mind. This is not your mind. This is who you are. This is not the data gatherer. This is not that part of you that collects data and information. This is the one that sees all.
That's right.
Hears all and speaks. So you are much, much more than you ever thought you would ever be, that you ever dreamed that you could be. You are that actual presence that you've been looking for. You're that presence. I don't know if any of this matters to you, but let me read this scripture to you. It's in 1 Corinthians. And let's see, where am I? In the second verse of 1 Corinthians, second chapter of 1 Corinthians, it says, but the natural man receives not the things of the Spirit of God.
That's right.
The physical man.
That's right.
The physical man.
And the mind.
For they are foolishness unto him, neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. What you just did when you said the words without using your mouth, the seeker is not eternal. The seeker is not eternal. And you heard the words without your ears, the seeker is not eternal. And you see the words, the seeker is not eternal, without your eyeballs. That was spiritually discerned.
Now let me show you something. You got some more?
Yeah, a little bit more. Says, but he that is spiritual judges all things, yet he himself is judged of no man. 16th verse says, for who hath known the mind of the Lord that he may instruct him? And then he says this, but we have the mind of Christ. What you are experiencing when you can hear it, when you can see it, when you can say it without your physical apparatus, without your mouth, without your eyeballs, that is the mind of Christ that you are.
Now, here's what I did this morning. When I say we did. Do you know, as I walk my dog in the morning, every last one of you are inside of me.
Yeah.
And I am inside of every last one of you in the universe. Now, watch, is a clause based on the eternal essence. Let me read something to you in first person. Second person, maybe, but more in first person. And I want you to know these are the words that in the 17th chapter, John, and any book it's in, it's okay. These are the words that you said, and you open your eyes and awareness and looked into the heaven inside of you. What happened to you with these experiences, all of us, is that all of a sudden we could look and see what and who we were inside of these bodies, holographic projections. Okay, here it is. This is what you said, we said, based on the red letter edition of this book. If we did it, fine. If we didn't, it's okay. It does not omit your eternal self. All right, here we go. This is what you said, we said together in the Garden of Gethsemane in first person. Father, the hour is come. Glorify me, you and I glorify ourselves, that we as one with God also may be glorified in oneness. Okay. As thou hast given me power over my body, flesh, and finite self, that we want to have the others to experience this eternal life, as many as possible have this experience. And you will always say, now watch this, you'll always say, God gave me, or I was given. That is speaking, that saying was given something, was the finite self,
or the seeker,
trying or experiencing, seeming like something was given. Not anything is ever given outside of God giving it to himself.
Yes.
Okay, watch this. I'm walking this morning, and all of a sudden the conversation went off.
Inside yourself.
Inside my body, inside myself. And it said this to itself: I am you walking. You are me taking steps. As I move, you move. We are moving as one. Now, this was spontaneously going off inside of me. I didn't have to think it up. It just went on. I said, where I am, you are.
Yeah.
Now, this is the clue that has been causing a lot of people to have the experience that you and I have had, to be looking for that again.
Yeah.
But what has happened is that your God self did not want your finite mind to get trapped into a condition to want this 24/7. What your inner self wanted for you to settle your attention down into reality, that this was already there all the time before your senses experienced it. The walk of the Spirit now is you. Let's say, for instance, I'm a man. I don't have to walk around and say to myself, I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a man. I don't have to read a manual and say, I am a man, and I have to do this to continue to be a man. And this thing that says, I want to get close to God. You can't do it. What is going on is your ego finite self is trying to figure out a way and think that it has found a way to get closer to something that has never been at a distance.
Exactly.
Hallelujah. Glory. My God, I feel it now. But if I don't have this feeling, not from studying, but from the knowing.
Yeah.
I know this. my brother, when he passed, and y'all heard me talk about it, told us at the funeral home on the other side, he spoke to me and my niece and told us where to go in my mother's house to find a title to a car that was hid, and we couldn't find it because we wanted to disperse his items. And Joe, my brother Joe, left his body. He had his Lennox box.
He was dead.
His body.
He said left his body. He was
Yeah,
dead.
well, that's it. Let me say it now. He went to the hospital and had surgery, and the Lennox box had cancer in it, and they had to remove it.
Yeah.
So he couldn't talk to us with his mouth.
Right.
Matter of fact, his body was laying dead, not him, but his body.
He was not in his body.
He was not in his body, was laying on the floor, and my niece and my mother was trying to resuscitate him to bring him back.
Right.
But he was on the other side, and he did not come back into his body. And he was talking to us without using his mouth. Now, Joe, my brother Joe, never, if he knew anything about this, he never said it when I was around him. He didn't talk about it when we grew up together. And we say half brother, but he was my brother. We had different daddies, but at the same time, he's my brother. And Joe said, without using mouth,
outside of his body,
he said, go in my room. The title to the car or the truck that you're looking for has slid down behind the old stereo. He said, pull the stereo out and the title will drop to the floor. Just as Stewart grits his grocery, eggs his poultry, and Grant run around Richmond. We pulled that stereo out.
There it was.
Teresa like that had a fat baby.
But I always,
and it was there.
But I always tell you that the miracle was not that Joe could communicate to you guys. Mm-hmm. That was not the miracle, because everybody on the other side communicates that way.
That's right. That was not a miracle.
That was not the miracle.
That's
the
right.
miracle was that there was a Tracy, your niece, who could hear him. There you go.
She never talked about, never had that experience.
That was the miracle. There's a me.
She heard it.
There's a Tracy inside of Tracy that could hear it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's the miracle. God. It's not the miracle that Joe could communicate back to you guys. That's what everybody does on the other side. They can do that. That's normal. That's the normal thing. But for her to be able to hear it, that is the miracle. So there is a you that can hear. There is a you that can see. There is a you that can speak without the physical body. Without the physical body. There is a you beyond your physical body. There is a you beyond your thinker. There is a you beyond the seeker. There is a you beyond the one who wants to be something more. There's a you that's already that. The ego says, I want that. But your essence, that you really are, says, I am that.
And every one of you is already walking the spirit, but you won't and have not decided to break the chain in
the cycle.
What wants to believe that is physical and mental.
Yes. You remember what was the name of that movie that Christopher Reeves was in, where he was traveling back in time?
Somewhere in time.
Somewhere in time. This young man in this movie, well, some of you guys may have seen it. He saw a picture of a woman. Well, first of all, he had an old woman come to him, and she said to him, he was an actor, and she walked up to him after one of his plays, and she said, "Come back to me." And left and didn't say no more to him. Just that. Just come back to me. And he went on a venture to find out who this woman was. Went to a hotel.
Her name was Elise McKinney.
And so he went to the hotel that had her picture. She had been in that hotel, had done plays in that hotel, in that theater, and he saw her and fell in love with her picture and learned somehow to travel back in time to be with her.
And he found out how
What
to do
he
it.
did was he put on the suit for that time,
Yep.
didn't he?
Yep.
He laid in the room where she was.
Oh, glory. Listen to this, y'all.
And he put on the whole costume for that time, and he laid there and he meditated himself back into her time and met her, fell in love with her. This is the thing. When they met, they got together. He was standing in the room with her, and they were so joyful because they met each other. He put his hand in his pocket, and there was a penny. When he pulled his hand out with that penny and he looked at the date, it said 1960 something, and immediately
it took him back.
It took him back to his time.
Now
he lost it by focusing on,
because he went back into his false identity of believing that he could not be anybody else than that body.
So he ended up back in the bed with that penny in his hand, and he kept trying to go back to her, but he couldn't. He couldn't transcend.
He was trying to use that. He's trying to get back, but he was still holding on to this.
Still holding the
hold
penny.
on to this world.
Holding on
in
to
that penny.
Holding on to this time.
But he dropped the penny.
Yes, well, he did eventually, but he died.
Yes, he did.
He couldn't go back.
He was so grieved that he couldn't go back.
Yeah. But he couldn't go back because he couldn't find he couldn't reproduce what had happened because he was holding on to the penny.
What we call spiritual warfare and the battle of Satan and Lucifer in the church is the penny we're holding on to in our hands.
Holding on to certain times, holding on to certain images, holding on to certain stories, holding on to past thoughts and holding on to a hopeful future.
Yeah.
And losing all the time the ability to be present and in the present.
Now, let's take a step here. What I decided to do, you talk about quieting the mind. I don't have no definition to tell you of what it means to quiet the mind. And the reason why is because some people say, my mind don't do this. Well, let's say I found out that there is a mind that thinks 24/7. But the real eternal self don't do that. So here's what I did. I decided in my closet to leave the monkey in the tree. If he talked, that's his monkey talking, not me. So what I decided to do, I watched him. I am the watcher.
Yes.
As I am the watcher, the Christ is the watcher that I am.
Yes.
If I am the seer, he is the seer that sees through himself. He is the one that hears the mind, so he has a spiritual ear, and he hears the mind and is aware of the conversation. But we are not the conversation of the mind.
That's right. That's right.
Hallelujah. Glory be to God. So I got free. You know how I got free?
Yes.
I let the mind please let me be graphic. I let the mind raise hell, cussed out. The mind said one time, he said, I'm going to tell y'all exactly what he said. Now watch it. I ain't trying to be out of place. I was in the garage and the mind said, you know what you need? I said, what? He said, you need a good ass whooping.
Your mind don't like you at all. Your mind really doesn't like you.
I'm telling you, I ain't putting no punches with y'all this morning. I'm telling you, by God.
Your mind judging you about something that you really needed a whooping for.
So he said, all you need is a good ass whooping. He didn't know it. I'll get one then. So I just
he
went
might
on.
have said, let me do it.
I said back to him, I said, really? I said, Who gonna give it to me?
She talked back at it.
I thought about it. I said, why don't you do it? Do you know when I challenged that thing and said
it stops.
it stopped,
Hmm.
but it quieted down, but I could tell it's
Just
still
for a season. Just for
yeah.
a season.
It quiet.
That's what it said when Jesus went in the wilderness.
Yeah.
The devil left him for a season.
It said, why don't you stab somebody? Why don't you kill somebody? You ain't doing no good here. You don't preach no more. You ain't got no business.
Why don't you take your own life?
Why don't you just run and it cuts too. It said, why don't you run the damn car off a bridge somewhere and get rid of yourself? All of that stuff. Now I want to tell you guys something. The walk of the Spirit has a price with it. And the price with it is the price with it is what we're talking about, awareness. The price that you're going to have to pay, or put it like this, you paid it and you're paying it now by your eternal existence. Let me tell you something. Please hear me. I'm talking about something that every one of you guys out there either have experienced or want to, and some of you are already walking in the spiritual identity so strong that you hear worse than your mind than what I just said that came to mind.
And Pastor, I think that when you are walking in that you are, you hear that even more.
Hey,
you hear that
it gets worse.
You hear that.
It seems like it's worse.
More, yes, because you are not identified with it, so you hear it a lot more.
Yeah, yes, Kathy. Thank you for the response that you're giving back to me. Thank you for being the Christ, talking and looking at the Christ and everybody online this morning. I walked this morning. I said, I walk with you and you walking with me. Now, here's a strong one that came. We are, that's what I said from the eternal self to itself. We are each other's salvation.
Yeah.
I am your salvation and you are mine. Now, the world of brick and mortar and those that are ordained to be bishops and pastors and have great congregation that have been created by people who know the scriptures will not talk like this.
That's true.
The conversation changes and would change. And I'm going to tell you how drastic this thing was. If many of the pastors stand in the pulpit and talk like this about their true self, they wouldn't have a lot of the congregation there like they have this morning.
They wouldn't, but there would be people who want to hear this.
There will always be them.
There will always be those who are seeking, those who are on this journey and want to be refreshed in this information. And not only that, but when it's like when we come to these gatherings together, it's like it's enhanced.
Now, I can say this to myself through my eternal essence, knowing the love that I am for all mankind is your love loving through me. Now I can say I truly forgive the memories, the past, and the present moment, because it is you, my Lord self, that I am using in my finite self. I am using your love, your forgiveness to forgive all men before I see them in my heart. I am your heart and you are mine. Without this heart, I would not be here, but I am here because you are here. Therefore, you are the heart that I am.
Yes.
Oh, well, now this morning, I did not recite that with words. It was a conversation, God identity speaking to himself. I look and see, you look and see. I step when you step, you are stepping with me.
Yeah.
I see what you see, and you see what I see. We are each other's sight.
Yeah.
We are each other's feelings, morning, noon, and night
Yes.
in love.
Yes. Yes.
I no longer work for it, but if I work for it, it's because it's you working toward yourself being free as the true identity that you and I are already and have always been.
Mhm.
We have always, this is what I said. I said, we have always been inside of each other.
Mhm.
I am inside of you, but you are really the inside of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hear me, please. Hear this and be at rest. If the battle is monkey, if it's fighting, if it's something there that you can't get over, don't worry about it because the worrying is the mind. The Christ that you are does not worry about anything. But if it does, it is introducing you to something that needs to be settled in your identity.
Yes. Now that is true, and I understand that very clearly.
Hallelujah.
That
Glory be to God.
when I'm trying to find the right setting here. I'm sorry, guys, for switching things up so much. Um, I'm learning that when there is the feeling that I can't shut the mind out down, I can't quieten it, I can't cause it to stop torturing me. There is a reason for that, and that reason is there is an identity that's attached to that, those thoughts that are going through the mind at that time. There's an identity attached to that that is being dismantled and going through a dissolving right then. That's the beginning of that.
What if you found out today in your account at the bank, you go to the bank and you say, I want to check on my account. You do that. And they said, your account is up to date. You all right. How much do I have in saving? And how much has been deposited? She comes back to you and said, you have $1 million. Somebody gonna have to put a stick up under you or prop you up.
You know, we'll run around the building.
You
be
probably
like, be like that. Be like that little boy who was home alone and he was running like this. That's what we would be.
Yeah. You somebody put a deposit into your account of $1 million, even $1,000.
Right now, 1,000 would be good.
That'd be good. Now, I'm telling you this. I'm saying this to you because in beingness, your true identity is the fulfilling of everything that any need. Watch this now. There's not a need, I don't care how strong it appears in the finite, that can take the place of the fulfillment of all things satisfied in the eternal essence of the eternal self. You are the beingness of God, and He is the beingness of you. I'll say it another way. You are God's business. God is your business. Don't go to boy. I tell you, I like this. I like this. And you know, ah, there's no words to describe the awesome, not the feeling that I feel. What is so awesome is I can walk all day long and never talk about this. But if I do, I know how I can. When I pass people down the street walking, I say, "Good morning." It was him, me. That was me saying that to himself. He said, "I see you, and I want to talk to you." And what I have to say to you as a person in a body passing me, the best thing I can say fulfills all things is good morning, have a good weekend, enjoy yourself, enjoy your walk.
Mhm.
That is him. That is us.
Yeah.
That is cordial. Really, I'm the cordial. I mean, that's not the word. That is so free that it enjoys talking to people and telling them good things.
Mhm.
This is not a confession. You get out of positive confession is a mental thing.
Yes. And
We
it has its
it has its
value,
place, but
and it does have its
some of y'all them
place.
took it to the extreme.
Mhm.
When I tell you you need this, need that, I don't need nothing. I got God. That's not him saying that. Your tones, your tones are not the tones of a settled issue that says, "Thank you." God didn't tell me I had this. You wrong. You're not of God. I know I'm free. I know I'm free. But then, if you are so free, why do you have to rebuttal? What is that that rebuttals the conversation? I'm taking you there. I'm taking you there. I'm taking you to a place that you never left. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Glory. Glory. Mm, mm, mm. I'm talking with the Christ in me to you. And it is, like somebody said, Miss Pearl, and the rest of said that was a heat. I felt that heat that morning when I experienced the epiphany happen. It was so doggone hot. I was sweating. And I was sweating even stronger after he done opened my chest up and let me see his heart inside of me and everybody I meet. I like to burn up. I mean, I was riding along the street waving at people,
Mhm.
and I could see in the spirit world houses. I even could see down the road years ago in Winston-Salem when R.J. Reynolds tobacco company that I worked for was going to shut down. I saw it before it happened. But I know the Christ in every man that I work with. I know the Christ in every supervisor that I talk to. One supervisor met me after I left the factory and a hardware store, Mr. Cog. I wish I could have talked to him more. But when I saw him, my mind went back that he was my boss man. I didn't want to talk to him anyway, but that wasn't so. He said, "Are you still preaching?" I said, "Yes." But he didn't know that I was preaching without talking about Jesus, talking about positionalities. Our presence met, and that presence meeting people
Now,
is the
and
conversation of God.
that was the gist of what I wanted to make sure we got across today. That your presence is the presence of God,
Mm.
and when you experience yourself, you are experiencing the presence of God. When you experience the presence of God, you're experiencing yourself, and that is the truth. And I know we've been on here for
This is a conversation that never ends. So when
yeah.
next time we come back to the site, this conversation will continue on.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thank every one of you for the gift. Miss Leslie, if you're still there, I thank you and Yvette or your father, whoever, for sending the gift to us at the right time. The special delivery truck came to the door, to the garage, and put it in my hand. That was a special truck. It wasn't just the mail truck, it was a special truck that did that, which told me that the specialness of Christ in you is the same special self in you and I and everybody you meet. Thank you so much for the gift. You guys enjoy the rest of your week. We'll be back again
On Tuesday.
on Tuesday to lead.
Tu- tu-
Tuesday
tu-
lead.
Tuesday.
On Tuesday at 7.
Tuesday.
Okay?
Let me know, you guys. And I know I asked you last time. I'm just working around some of this stuff with trying to make things easier for you to give. I'm not an expert and I don't know how things really work, but I'm just now beginning to understand QR codes. If you're able to use these QR codes, let me know. if you can or you cannot, whatever, because it will help me to be able to make things easier for you. Okay. Just let me know. Give me a thumbs up or something if you're able to use the QR codes. And we
That,
want to thank you for what are you about to say?
there's a lady that called us 2 times and asked us if we're ready to sell our house. Now, I say this to you guys. I asked her, I left her a message, she said, come by and we'll sit down and talk. I really don't want to move, but if you guys keep helping us, we won't have to. I'm just putting it out there because the Christ in you, see, I switched over. The Christ in you is still there listening in our conversation. If we stay, it'll be because the grace of the I am that we are, he is decided not to move, but stay here. And I thank you for the financial assistance.
Mm-hmm.
But what is more than gold, more than the weight of gold, every time we come in the screen on Tuesday and Sunday, you guys show up.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Christ
Mm-hmm.
that shows up to himself as us on this side.
Hey, Angel, I see you, sweetie pie.
Angel.
Mm-hmm. You met her in the hospital.
What's Angel? Her name?
Yeah, you met Angel in the hospital.
Angel.
Yeah.
Oh, happy Sunday,
I hope you
Monday.
didn't just come in, Angel, because if you did, you're gonna have to go back and watch the
I'm so glad you
watch the
came in
video.
with us. I hadn't seen you. I've been over there, but we hadn't seen you. But thank you for
Right,
the
right.
presence that the Christ is as you now.
So
Okay.
have a wonderful holiday, as Jill says. I want you to guys to enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day weekend, and
Yes.
we're gonna take off here. We'll be back on Tuesday. Again, if are the QR codes available for you to use? Can you use them? Do I need to do something different with them? Let me know. Please let me know. Because this is all new to me. I am not tech savvy. So I'm just trying things and see how it's going to work. Trying to move up in the 21st century. Okay. Let me know if that works for you. We'll be back Tuesday at 7.
Yep.
Live and in color if nothing happens.
Yep.
Pastor Norman, you gonna be with us on Tuesday? Give me a thumbs up, young man. Pastor Norman always hangs out with us on Tuesday and has a conversation with us, which I love. And hopefully he'll be able to do that this Tuesday. Last Tuesday he was at the graduation, and I hope it went well.
And Pastor Norman, we want to thank you for being a son of God to us.
Yeah. He said he's gonna be with us. I can't wait. I can't wait.
And Brother Blue, you out there, thank you for being a son of God.
Yeah.
All the men and the ladies out there, we thank you for being a daughter of God to us.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm just making sure Pastor don't start up with something different. Every time we about ready to close, he'll start up with something different. Yes, you will. You will. So, guys, please let me know about the QR codes. If you're not able to use them, let me know. And your new grandparents. Yeah, I know. Isn't that something? What did you have? A little boy, a little girl? Which one? And Christopher's little baby.
Yeah.
Christopher's baby.
Oh, listen at you, boy.
Mm-hmm. Christopher's baby. Yeah, boy, that's something. That's something.
It is. It really is.
Well, I remember when Christopher was a little bitty boy. Now he's a daddy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He think he grown now.
Yeah.
You've grown, but he might, put it like this. He might be slick, but he can stand another greasy.
No. On that note, we're going to take off here, and we love you. We thank you for hanging out with us. We'll be back.
And it's Gwen's birthday, babe.
Oh, my goodness.
Happy birthday, baby girl.
Yeah, happy birthday to her.
Oh, I'm so happy for y'all. I'm so happy for you.
We're going to go. We'll see you next time.
See you on Turnaround.